all-time rusher, beating Stephen Davis's mark set back in 2001. And with 4 catches, Chris Cooley passes Jerry Smith for the franchise record for receptions by a tight end. Jerry has that record with 67 back in 1967. Santana Moss needs 197 to break Bobby Mitchell's total season receiving yardage record.
Right?
Yeah, so there's some milestones that might fall today.
Do you have any defensive stats?
No.
Like
no,
that?
No.
Oh, I tell you, they don't keep track of that in the league office.
We're looking for busted helmets from the defense today.
Okay.
Kickoff coming up. The scene is set. Redskins and Giants, a lot on the line. Back after this on the Free FM WJFK Redskins Radio Network.
They go with the flea flicker. Jackson's open deep. Touchdown.
Football may have its amazing plays, dazzling kick returns.
Heart. Call 888-414-GIVE and support our combat wounded. Your Toyota dealer, where you'll find the ride of your life. Toyota, moving forward. And Wachovia.
Man and wide receiver for the Giants. He is injured, so it's going to be Chad Morton.
Like to get a start like last week. Very first play, turnover.
A deflection would be nice.
Woo!
Crowd certainly fired up. Crowd's been a big factor this year.
Well, Chad Morton played with the Jets, then they came with the Redskins, now he's back with the Giants. That's full circle.
And he's a tough guy to defend. He can break one anytime, so it's opening kickoff coming your way. Redskins on the defensive side of the football for the first possession of this game. Matt Bowen is inactive today, as is Carlos Rogers. Also Ryan Biscotti and Aki Jones inactive, as the Redskins have their front line defensive line back and healthy. John Hall has the football.
Boy, what a perfect day for a football game, isn't it? I mean, a few empty seats. I guess people are still coming in.
Little late, early game, but we are ready for football.
This is a pretty good side covering the ball over here. Sean Springs and Sean Taylor.
Sean Taylor, you got to believe it.
Adi Jamo and Kerry Campbell.
The run up by John Hall, and this game is underway. Kicks it to the left side. Chad Morton's going to take it at his 9-yard line. To the middle, 15-20. Going across the field, Sean Taylor misses him. Going around the right side, he's still on his feet. John Hall knocks him out at the Redskins 49. Chad Morton takes it across the field.
Boy, what a return.
Big gainer all the way to the Skins 49.
They got a big lift already, didn't they?
Sure did. LeVar Arrington going to start at linebacker for the Skins. It's not a good start. If you're on the Redskins side of the football, they're going to mark it at the midfield stripe. And that is how we'll begin.
Right at the 50.
Giants moving right to left in front of us. To the left, Amani Toomer. To the right, Plexico Burris. Finn and Barber, the setbacks. 1st and 10 Giants, the midfield stripe. Eli Manning, the quarterback, under center, Sean O'Hara. Play action. He's got all kinds of time. Looking deep. Looking for Burris. He's got a step. He's off his fingertips, incomplete. He would have had a touchdown if he had gathered it in.
Boy, they went for
Should
it
have
right away.
had a touchdown. Woo! He drops the ball.
No, he had Ryan Clark by 4 or 5 steps.
Well, they were practicing that earlier.
Look at right in his hand.
Right in his hands. Twice. 3 times going down.
Well, hit him in a bad place.
Boy, no pass rush. They were playing a run. They were looking for Tiki Barber.
Yeah.
They'll get him this time.
High formation behind Manning on 2nd and 10. Redskins, Sean Taylor coming up on the line of scrimmage. Pitch out to the right side. Barber hit by Joe Salavea. Actually, Cornelius Griffin for a loss of 3 on that play.
Big Cornelius Griffin used to play for the Giants. Now in that Redskin uniform, boy, what a play there.
And he just burst through that line for a loss of 2. 3rd and 12 coming up for the Giants.
Got to look out for the screen early. Look for the screen always. If you're a linebacker, you got to shut it down quick.
Well, you got to look back on that drop touchdown pass somewhere along the way today.
Whoa.
They hit him right in the hands.
Right in the hands.
Well, the crowd's getting into it now.
And no doubt about that on 3rd and 12 from the 48. Eli Manning in the shotgun. Has 2 backs next to him. Back to pass. Heat up the middle. He's going to get hit. Gets it off to Finn at the midfield stripe, and he's wrapped up. Boy, Phillip Daniels almost got to Manning, and it's going to be a punting situation.
Boy, they came. Good pass rush that time. Excellent pass rush.
Well, Phillip Daniels had 4 sacks last week. That's a season high in the NFL.
Lamar Marshall in on that tackle. Boy, they came after him, didn't they?
They really did. Jeff Eagles in. Punted more times than any punter in NFL history. That average of 37 yards a kick, and standing in his own 10, Antonio Brown. Beagle stands at his own 36. Gets the snap. And the punt's away. It's a nice spiral. Antonio Brown angling to the left. Fakes the fair catch, and it goes out of bounds. Now it stays in, and they're going to down it inside the 5.
Why did he catch it?
And a flag on the play. And there's a flag dropped on the play at the 4-yard line. We're going to have to wait and see what the call is here. It could be against the Giants.
It is.
And boy, that's a lucky break for the Skins.
What did they do down
We'll
there?
see what it is.
Antonio Brown called for the fair catch and then ran away from the football. The ball bounced, and the Giants downed it inside the 5. There were no Redskins there.
Let's see what the call is. The guy
Maybe the player went out of bounds first.
First guy to touch it was out of bounds.
Yeah, he was way out of bounds.
Yep.
Well, he got knocked out of bounds, but he came back in, but he can't be the first guy to touch it.
And he was.
And now, wait a minute. They might be picking the... Setting the offense for the Redskins. You got Robert Royal and Mike Sellers both in. Single wide receiver is going to be Santana Moss, the H-back Chris Cooley. Redskins' first possession. The Giants had to punt it away. There is no score. Clinton Portis, the lone setback. Cooley and Moss both to the right. From their own 20-yard line. In motion, Chris Cooley to the left. And Brunell pitches it left side to Portis. Trying to find some running room across the 20 to the 24. Running behind Derek Dockery. Looked like it got stacked up, but he got something out of it.
Got about 5, I think.
Hey, folks, join Nissan, NBC4, and the Salvation Army in donating new unwrapped toys this season. Drop off your toys at any Washington area Nissan dealer now through January the 3rd. Check out NBC4.com for details.
He actually got 4 yards on that carry, but a good toss, good pitch.
So Clinton goes over 1,300 for the season. 4th straight year, joining some illustrious company. We'll tell you about that. 2nd and 6 at their 24. James Thrash in the game as a wide receiver. Handoff to Portis, right up the middle. Not much running room. 4 yards for Clinton puts him in fast company. 4 straight. 1,300 years to start a career. Earl Campbell and Barry Sanders, the only other 2 to do that.
The hole opened up between the guard and the tackle, and he ran right back over the middle. Boy, and they jammed it up.
Bringing up a 3rd and 4. Sonny, who are you looking for here?
Cooley.
He loves Cooley.
Why not?
Why not? I agree.
Taylor Jacobs in as a 3rd wideout. No tight end in the game. Cooley the edge backs, the slot man on the left. Portis in the backfield, Brunell in the shotgun. Cooley in motion to the right. On 3rd and 4, Brunell fires. Oh, where's the flag? Here comes from way outside. Santana Moss mugged on the little turn in. It's going to be a first down for the Skins.
Illegal contact by the defense.
Why did the referee 40 yards away throw that flag?
Because he saw it.
The guy on this side made the call.
That's going to give the Skins a first down.
Two mistakes
Pass
already by the Giants.
39. Defense. Spotted the foul. First down.
Call is on Curtis DeLoach.
2 mistakes already. Illegal touch and a 3rd down pass interference call.
Well, he grabbed him around the arms. It was there, that's for sure.
Redskins go double tight end again now with Cooley and Santana Moss to the left of the formation. Clinton Portis is set back 1st and 10. Their own 31. Sellers in motion. Pitch. Portis has a little room. Breaks a tackle. Breaks it to the left. Almost gets loose. A flag on the play.
There's a holding.
In the line. That's going to go against the Skins.
Uh-oh. Not number 66, I hope.
Yeah, they're going to march it back.
It'll either be against Raybach or Dockery.
Could be on the defense. Wait a minute. Let's see.
Can't be.
Holding. Defense. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
3 mistakes already.
I can't believe it. Called holding on the defense there on a running play. That's that's unusual.
That's unusual. No doubt about that. You don't see that much. Ball at the 40-yard line now for the Skins. 1st and 10 at their own 40.
If I was captain, I'd still be arguing about it.
Yes, you would.
Redskins again now with an I formation. The up back is Robert Royal. Portis, the setback. In motion, Chris Cooley to the right. Pitch left side to Portis. Across the 40. Driving. Still gets stacked up after a gain of 1. Redskins want to pound the ball today, don't they?
Yes, they do. I gave you that stat.
Well,
they've been running it more, and when they run it more than pass, they're 3-0.
In case you haven't hurt. Antonio Pierce is out injured, and so is Carlos Emmons. Two starting linebackers are not in there.
In the middle's a rookie, Chase Blackburn, a rookie from Akron, getting his first NFL start. Gain of 1 on first down, 2nd and 9. Santana in motion to the left. Brunell back to pass, under heat, breaks a tackle, and he's rolling to his left. So he's going to run it across the 40 to the 50-yard line, and he gets the first down.
He's right close to it.
Whoa, very close. The Redskins have not allowed a sack in 2 games. They almost gave one up there.
Almost did. It was that Humaniara?
Yep.
Well, he ran by him. He ran inside of Ubi.
No, it was a tackle that came in and almost had him. That wasn't Humaniara.
72. Humanera was 72.
Yeah,
What's his name, Sam?
Humanera. That's as close as I can get.
Humanera? What is that?
I talked with Dick Lynch, who calls it the radio for the Giants, and that's what he told me. So that's what I'm using.
First and 10, give to Clinton Portis, breaks the tackle across the midfield stripe to the Giant 46.
Good time-consuming drive by the Redskins.
Gain of 4 yards on that play for Clinton. Bringing up the second down. That's 6 runs and no passes. Now, they wanted to pass it a couple times, but they had to run it. So brings up a 2nd and 6 for the Skins at the 46. No score early in this first quarter.
And the only one he threw was a penalty.
Right. Santana Moss is to the left, Chris Cooley to the right. There's the counter give. Liddell Betts in the game. Tackled at the 44-yard line. Not much room there that time for Liddell.
It's going to be a tricky call coming up here.
Don't forget, the Redskins are proudly sponsored by the Home Depot. Visit the Home Depot this week to enter for a chance to win a $30,000 Home Depot shopping spree. You can do it, and we can help.
The Giants
3rd and 3.
Taking out a linebacker and a defensive lineman. They got the nickel defense in.
Redskins have James Thrash in, a wide out to the right. Brunell in the shotgun. Betts remains in as the running back. 3rd and 3 from the Giant 43. Brunell with the snap. Steps up. Is he going to run? Flip pass to Robert Royal for the first down and more. To the 35. Still on his feet down to the 30. An underhanded flip pass by Brunell.
Great awareness in the pocket.
Robert Royal was standing back there trying to block.
He was blocking.
Yeah.
That was a great awareness by Brunell.
It sure was, Sonny. Great play.
Left-handed Sonny Jurgensen there.
Here, take this ball, man.
Any way I get it to you.
That's right. I don't want it. And he was wide. Royal was wide open.
Ball at the Giants.
Well, they don't cover him if he's blocking.
That's a great play by Brunell. Betts remains a setback. Sellers in motion. 1st and 10 at the Giants 30. Pitch to Betts. Cuts it up. Has some room down to the 26. Redskins just chewing up yardage on this first possession on the ground.
And chewing up time.
Taylor Jacobs checks in. They're going to go with a couple wideouts here on 2nd and 6. Looking like they might change the play calling. Taylor Jacobs and Santana Moss go to the left. To the right, James Thrash on 2nd and 6. Cooley's a wingman on the right side of the formation. Brunell has Betts behind him. And he's going to give it to Betts. Hit in the backfield, breaks the tackle, but hit at the 25, and he's going to be stopped. Maybe a gain of 1 on that play. 3rd and 5 coming up.
Allen missed him. Big defensive tackle.
He had him in the backfield.
It's going to be another tricky call right here.
Well, the Redskins in field goal range.
Yep.
You be careful with the football here.
Hey,
9 rushes, 1 pass on this drive.
I can't believe he said that. He wants to go for a touchdown all the time down there.
I want to, but I'm just saying be careful with it.
Okay.
3rd and 5. Brunell in the shotgun from the Giant 25-yard line. Sends Santana Moss in motion. Now he comes back to the right side. Here comes the blitz. Brunell looking left, fires. Moss is there on the sideline. He's got the first down. Got the first down inside the 20 to the 17-yard line.
He faked going left.
Came back in motion. Ran an out pattern.
And the defensive back was beaten because if he comes up and hits him, he's going to get the pass interference call. So he has to let him catch it.
Portis back in. 1st and 10 Redskins at the Giants 17-yard line.
Nice drive.
Beautiful drive. Started at their own 20. The Giants 17 now 1st and 10. Portis the lone setback. He gets the call. Cuts it up. Oh, just gets stacked up by Michael Strahan. on the inside, and Fred Robbins, a big 335-pounder.
Boy, Strahan is a football player. I tell you that.
No gain on the play.
It takes a heck of a tackle to line up against him.
Portis had the right idea, Sonny, trying to cut it back away.
He was trying to cut it back, but the pursuit from the offside caught up with him that time because they really knifed down. They kind of set themselves up for a reverse.
Those two defensive ends are going to the Pro Bowl as first teamers.
No gain. 2nd and 10 for the Skins. Moss in motion to the left. Brunell, it's a screen pass to Moss on the left side, breaks a tackle to the 5, still on his feet, and he is in! Touchdown Redskins. Santana Moss gets it in for the score. Touchdown number 7.
The quick screen again, worked to perfection.
He is too quick to handle down there.
It's the second game in a row that the Redskins go for a touchdown on their first plays of the game.
First possession, they take it all the way down.
Second time this year they've done it. Second time this year they've scored on their first possession. And Derek Dockery was down there leading the way in front of that play.
A nice screen pass.
Beautiful. Beautiful. The conversion by John Hall. It is up 7-0 Redskins on their first possession. Scoring drive summary brought to you by DC Lottery. And the brand new game, DC Daily 6, 13 plays, 80 yards, and the Skins lead it 7-0. This is Redskins Radio.
Chicken select strips made with 100% white breast meat. They're crispy, they're juicy, they're everything you expect from chicken. At participating McDonald's.
Redskins Radio.
Welcome back to FedEx Field. 7-0 Redskins lead it. Larry Michael with Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff. And with us in the booth, a very special guest. Last week we had Senator George Allen. Today we have the Governor, Randy Thomas.
I wouldn't say that.
What do you think of that touchdown on that first possession?
Let me tell you something. When I left the field, they had the ball. When I came up, that's how long it took me to get here. They scored a touchdown.
So why don't you head back down now and we'll get an interception.
Nah, I can't go right now.
He's got to rest.
All right, Randy's going to hang out for a while, and the ball is teed up. John Hall has it on the tee, and Chad Morton had a big return on the first kickoff, deep to receive. There's a kick by John going right down the middle. Coming up short. Chad's going to take it at the 10, 15, angling to the left, to the 30, still on his feet, piled up at the 34. Boy, he got a lot of momentum behind him. And there's a timeout on the field as there's a skirmish on the field. One of the Giants and one of the Redskins, number 21 in the middle of it for the Skins.
Sean Taylor, you don't want to lose him.
No, you don't. We'll be back in a moment. The Redskins lead at 7-0. Back after these words from Geico. This is Redskins Radio.
Your oldest has just turned driving age. Time to add them to your policy. So you get in your car, drive down to...
Audio Video created an amazing home theater system for me, and they're ready to do one for you. Myrimco Audio Video. Log on to myrimco.com.
7-0 Redskins leading on their first possession. A gorgeous drive. Joe Gibbs, when scoring first, 103 wins, 27 losses. And the crowd certainly is in it right now. Amani Toomer is to the right, to the left, Plaxico Burress, 1st and 10, Giants at their own 35. Manning short drop, looking right, firing down the sideline, and it's complete to Amani Toomer.
Oh, no.
Over the head of Sean Springs. A quick look at the McDonald's scoreboard. Carolina leads Dallas 10-0 in the first quarter.
Yes.
And if you hear any gasp and exclamations in the background, it's Randy Thomas.
I don't know when to talk.
That's because you're an offensive lineman and never let you talk.
1st and 10 Giants. Nice completion from Manning to Toomer. Ball for Redskins 45. Tiki Barber the lone setback. Finn the fullback is in motion. Pitch right side to Barber. Good penetration. Hit at the line of scrimmage and taken down.
Sean Taylor in there.
Ronaldo win.
The penetration of that D-line, it took over the whole line. It went backwards.
That's right. That's what you're supposed to do on defense. Take that line backwards.
Salavan in there. Just a massive humanity. A gain of 1. 2nd and 9 coming up for the Giants. Manning has had some struggles towards the last few weeks, hasn't he?
He has. He's 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in the last 3 games.
2nd and 9 from the 44. Barber the lone setback. Manning under center. The Redskins have 7 men up on the line. Handoff to Barber. Has a hole to the 40. Hit and stuffed right at the first down marker. Very close to the first down. This is a guy you got to wrap up and hit early.
You got to get up. The linebackers are playing real deep. And when he gets to that line of scrimmage, he's flying.
Well, he's 46% of their offense. I would think it's a pretty good job to keep your eye on him.
You got it. I mean, move that linebacker up there. Take him one-on-one.
It seems like they're trying to go straight. They ain't dance. He ain't dancing much.
He's not dancing much.
You can't dance on this defense.
1st and 10, Giants, the Redskins 35.
Kiss it.
Shockey is in motion to the right. Play action. Manning throwing out the Shockey. It's off his fingertips. That was Finn, the fullback. Could have been intercepted. Bounced off his pad and out of bounds.
You never throw the ball high to fullbacks. Remember, you don't have to wait to Sundays to get your dose of the Redskins. Check out the Redskins notebook every day in the Washington Post sports section.
2nd and 10 coming up for the Giants. Tiki Barber having a fantastic year. Over 2,000 yards total, 10 touchdowns. And 2nd consecutive 2,000-yard year for Tiki. Well, he is tough, no doubt about that. 2nd and 10 from the Giants 35. In motion, the fullback Finn to the left. Barber's a setback. Manning back to pass again. Fires to the right, over the head, and it is caught. He tapped it to himself. The same play to Finn again.
Did he have possession?
They said yes.
I'm telling that sideline that might be worth a look on the instant replay.
Well, the guy was right on it. Head linesman was right on the play.
That's a tough one.
That doesn't mean anything. He can miss it.
Well, I know, but he's looking right at it. He misses it. And what's he doing in this game?
Redskins will not challenge. 3rd and 4 at the Redskins 29.
There was no challenge.
Shianko in as a wide receiver. Toomer is in motion to the left side. On 3rd and 4, Manning back to pass. Has time. Ball is deflected and almost picked off by Omar Stoutmire off the deflection.
Deflection.
I think they got away with a holding in there.
You saw that, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I seen it. Believe me, I'm used to seeing those.
If they call holding, we'd never get the game over.
I know, but
you know that.
All right, here's a field goal.
Talk about a field goal range.
Field goal attempt here by Jay Feely, who has had his well-documented problems. He's the NFL's leading scorer as a kicker this year, though.
Yeah, he made a lot of them at the beginning of the year, but then he went into a little slump.
47-yard attempt. The holder is Feagles. The kick is on the way. He's got the distance. And it is good. The Giants score on their 2nd possession. They cut the margin to 4. The Redskins lead it 7-3. Back after this on the Free FM WJFK Redskins Radio Network.
Big deal? Actually, 2 big deals. Be sure to visit Washington Area Chrysler dealers today to see how you can get great cash offers or gas for 2 years. Visit WashingtonChryslerJeep.com today.
All right, very good. Redskins lead it 7-3 after the field goal by Feely, and the ball is teed up by Feely, and we've got Antonio Brown and James Thrash deep to return the kickoff. Scoring drive summary brought to you by DC Lottery and the brand new game DC Daily 6-7 plays 36 yards. The 47-yard field goal by Feely puts the Giants on the scoreboard.
I don't know if this is the right statement, but I like kickoff return. I like to see us get the ball.
I'd like to see that too. Feely puts a foot into it. It's a good kick coming down. Antonio Brown takes it at the 5, full speed, 15-20, angling to the right, looking for a hole, and he gets buried at the 24-yard line.
He didn't get outside, did he?
No, he sure didn't. Timeout on the field with the score: Redskins 7, Giants 3. Back in a moment. This is Redskins Radio.
Be on the lookout for the new Keno Sprinkler promotion from the Maryland Lottery. Now through January 15th, they're giving you more chances than ever to increase your winnings. When you're playing...
Hello, guys.
Redskins guard.
Yeah. Randy played with the Jets.
Right.
In the same stadium as the Giants.
Oh,
shared locker rooms.
I really got tired of seeing that blue.
Well, it's great to have you in Washington, Randy.
Glad to be here.
1st and 10 at the 25 for the Skins. James Thrash and Chris Cooley are to the left. Santana Moss taking a break. The lone setback is Clinton Portis. Double tight end formation. Sellers and Royal both to the right. Cooley comes in motion to the right, and it's a cutback to Clinton Portis. No running room there at all. Stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Was that a cross up on the offensive line there?
He looked like he cut back. Ray was trying to take his man down, and he cut back right outside of him.
They're playing the linebackers up tight, right at the basically line of scrimmage, man. And it's like almost like goal line. The linebacker's inside the defensive end. Nobody blocks him.
Well, they got knocked off the ball last time.
Loss of 1 on the play. 2nd and 11 for the Skins from their own 24. Portis remains the setback. On count by Brunell. Short drop. Fires over the middle. It's intercepted. Picked off by the middle linebacker. And he is off to the races. Chase Blackburn all the way for the touchdown. Hit him right in the chest.
Whoa. I don't believe that just happened.
Just that quick, the Giants take the lead on the interception by the rookie out of Akron, Chase Blackburn.
We got a game.
No doubt about that.
Can't make mistakes against this team.
Not like that, man.
Randy, before you get out of here, I want to say this. You deserve to go to the Pro Bowl this year. And I'm sorry that you weren't picked. You deserved it.
Thanks, Sonny, man. I don't get into much of those, escalades, individual rewards. I just want to win games.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about quarterbacking, and I don't know much about it, but you better key the middle linebacker because he tells you where the ball's going to go.
Oh, yeah.
And that time, the middle linebacker was right there to make the interception.
Well, how quickly things turns around.
Very quick. The Giants now lead it by 7-0. It's Pittsburgh 14-0 over Cleveland. Carolina leads the Cowboys 10-7, and it's Kansas City 7, San Diego 6. Scoreboard brought to you by the Military Order of the Purple Heart. All those games in the first quarter.
All you need to do is make a play on the special teams now, run it all the way back.
Redskins marked by the interception and the return for the touchdown by Chase Blackburn. They trailed the Giants 10-7 with 2:20 to go in the first quarter. The run up by Fiegels and the kickoff. Antonio Brown backpedaling, going to take it at his own 2-yard line. Up to the 10-15, right up the middle. Has a little bit of room to the 25-30, and that's where the Redskins will take over 1st and 10.
Good field position.
I'll tell you one thing, that Feely guy can kick that ball.
Got a strong leg, doesn't he?
Got a strong leg.
He's upset about something.
He's taking it out on the ball. Let's see if Mark Brunell can shake off that interception.
Well, you have to. And a veteran has a better chance of doing it than a young quarterback that makes a mistake like that. Young quarterbacks get concrete elbows. They're scared to let that thing go.
Portis a setback. 1st and 10 Redskins. Hand off to Clinton. Looking for some room on the left side. Hit by Strahan and buckled at the 31-yard line.
That's a hard play when you got a fast end like Strahan.
He's tough.
Yeah.
He is real.
Doesn't he kind of set himself up for reverse, though?
Reverse.
Because he knifes down the line so sharply.
Yeah. Take him down and run wide.
2nd and 9. Clinton Portis remains a setback. Santana Moss is to the right, to the left. James Thrash. Now Cooley is in motion to the backfield. Handoff again. Counter play. Portis trying to find room. Hit in the backfield. Still trying to drive back to the original line of scrimmage. And that's where he gets. It's going to be a 3rd and long. Randy, you got something to say back there?
No, I'm just trying to. Hungry but broke from holiday shopping, man. Trying to sell away 6-inch cold cut combo for only $2.69 on a toasted bread pie with all the fixings. Subway, eat fresh.
All right, get that man a sub.
Well, Brent Alexander came up and made that tackle, the safety.
3rd and 10 Skins from the shotgun. Brunell gets a snap. Has time. Flushed, dumps it off to Portis, and he makes the catch, and he's got the first down. What a play.
Oh, man.
Great catch.
Busted play.
And he gets the first down by a yard. Brunell flushed to the left. Portis kind of released. They found each other. And there's your first down.
They have 2 great ends out there rushing, man.
No kidding. They both go to the Pro Bowl.
Unbelievable. Well, you got more people in New York to vote,
You got a lot of people in New York for everything.
Liddell bets in, replacing Clinton Portis. 1st and 10 Redskins at their own 41-yard line. Moss and Cooley, along with Sellers, all on the left side now. And it's a handoff. No, play action. Brunell looking deep. Going to Santana Moss. Ahead of the defense. It's caught at the 10-5. Touchdown Redskins. Touchdown 59 yards. Brunell to Santana Moss. 2nd score of the game for Santana.
That's Redskins football.
Take that, will you?
That's the way you come back.
I told you Brunell could come back from it.
And he did.
So what kind of elbow is that, John? Sonny, what kind of elbow is that?
Great effort.
What kind of elbow is that? Last time it was concrete about
concrete. That's what the young quarterbacks get.
So what Brunell got right now?
He got a very loose one. You got to have a loose one to throw a ball like he just threw.
Well, he turned Santana around on that pass, and he has those great feet to be able to make the adjustment.
He really catches a long ball well.
And the Redskins retake the lead, 14-10. Scoring drive summary brought to you by DC Lottery in the brand new game, DC Daily 6. 4 plays, 70 yards, the 51-yard touchdown pass. Brunell to Santana Moss. Randy, we're gonna say a short goodbye to you, but we invite you to come back in the second half and give us the luck you've given us so far.
Thanks. So you score a lot of points since I've been up here.
I know.
And no penalties.
Man, that was a quick strike, Brunell to Moss. Sonny, it looks like it might be a high-scoring game, huh?
Tell you what was important then was the pass protection. Gave him time to throw the ball in.
He likes those play action. You know, he liked those boots. And it was wide open.
I mean, but it gave him a lot. They did a good job up front.
You know what? Yeah, they was up for that run. So,
and everybody on that left side, fullbacks, the tight ends, it sure looked like a run.
Oh man, and linemen, we love that protection. But you set up the other guy for a big hit. All right, Larry, thanks for kicking me out.
Randy, we're asking you back though.
I'm not coming back. I'm going to enjoy the game.
All right, buddy. Randy Thomas, and I have to tell the listeners his cast looks like a candy cane, and he's got a little Christmas hat on top of his foot. There he is, Randy Thomas.
One of a kind.
One of a kind is right. So a quick strike, Brunell to Santana Moss gives the Redskins the 14-10 lead. 13 seconds left to play in a very exciting first quarter thus far. Run up by John Hall on the kickoff. Chad Morton's had a couple good returns. He takes it at his 3. Full head of steam, 15-20. Missed the tackle there by Chris Clemens and knocked out of bounds by Kerry Campbell at the 25-yard line.
The wedge that time ran off and left. They left too soon.
They left him, huh? Reminder, the Junkies are moving to the morning starting January 3rd. JPEB Lurch and Cakes, weekdays, 5:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Free FM, 106.7 WJFK. First and 10 Giants at their own 25-yard line.
This is where the Redskin defense has to step up right here and hold them here.
Been several swings of momentum already in just the first quarter.
Yes, it has been.
Eli Manning has 4 wide in the formation, having a hard time here in the count. Tiki Barber the setback. Manning back to pass. Heat from the outside. His arm is hit. Shockey can't catch it, and it's deflected up and down, and it hits the turf. Well, Ronaldo Wynn was in there in a flash, and he got a piece of his arm.
He got in a hurry.
Yeah, he beat his man. Right tackle Whitfield.
You know, I think last week's game really gave these defensive ends a lot of confidence about rushing the passer because they've done a much better job of pressuring the quarterback. And you can see it in the first quarter here today.
Second and 10 Giants at their own 25. Plaxico Burris to the right. The handoff, no. Play action. Manning gets it off it to Finn, and he's tackled by LeVar. A gain of 2 on the play. Grabbed him quick. And that's the end of the first quarter.
Good
Giants
play.
face a 3rd and long when we come back. 3rd and 13 is what they're going to face. Actually, a 3rd and 7. The scoreboard's wrong, but it is right when it says it's the end of the first quarter. 14-10, Redskins lead it. Back after this on the Free FM, WJFK Redskins Radio Network.
Downs, the Giants only 2. 3 for 3 on 3rd down conversions. Giants 0 for 2. Time of possession, most important in the first quarter. Redskins had it 10:05 to 4:55 for the Giants. Brunell 5 of 6, 107 yards. 2 touchdowns and an interception for a touchdown. Portis 9 carries, 15 yards. Barber only 3 carries, 8 yards.
3rd and 7 for the Giants. Tim Carter, a 3rd wide out in the formation. Manning in the shotgun, gets a snap, and he throws it down. And there's a flag on the play.
Motion.
Yep. And the crowd came into play again that time, Sam.
Yeah, they did.
False start, 76, offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Right guard Chris Snee, the culprit.
Well, when you have close to 90,000 people yelling and screaming, you can't hear anything down there, offense or defense. Now, you got to be careful of the deep pass. Two things you got to look for, the deep pass and the screen.
Tiki Barber in the backfield with Manning, who's in the shotgun on 3rd and 12.
They got the defense set up for the long pass.
Manning back to pass, scrambling to the left, fires, gets Shockey at the 30-yard line, but he's way short of the first down. They're going to have to punt.
Shockey was mad. He got up and slammed the ball down. He had a lot of people around him.
Give the 5-yard pass when you need 12 every day of the week.
Yeah, he's got to get up there. He has to know where the yard marker is to get the first down.
Eagles in for a second punt of the afternoon, and Antonio Brown stands at his own 27. Waiting for the punt. The Redskins lead at 14-10 to start the second quarter. Eagles gets the snap and gets the punt away. It's a low wobbler, returnable. Brown takes it at the 28. Looking for some room. Flag on the play on the left side of the 31-yard line, and that.
And more penalties on special teams punting like that.
Quick look at the. That's a rough one there.
Replay. Didn't block anybody. Wasn't even close to anybody.
1st and 10. Redskins at their own 22-yard line.
They could have had the wrong number.
They did. He wasn't even close.
James Thrash in, replacing Santana Moss here on this first down. 1st and 10, Skins at their own 22. Brunell calls the signals and sends Chris Cooley in motion to the right. Portis is set back. It's a pitch left side to Clinton Portis, trying to beat the linebacker around the corner, and he does, across the 25 to the 30, and he just showed speed to outrun the linebacker, Reggie Torber, and it's a first down run for Clinton.
Linebacker took the wrong angle.
He did. He didn't think that Portis was that fast. That's a tough play for a linebacker. See, he's got to get him all by himself. He's got the outside. He got no help from the corner.
And
corner got blocked.
Nice block by James Thrash up ahead.
I wouldn't want to try to make that play right there on a great back. That's tough.
Yeah.
Ball marked the Redskins 35, 1st and 10. Clinton Portis off to a good start here this afternoon. Sellers in motion. Handoff to Port. No, Betts the reverse, the double reverse, going to Antonio Brown. Cuts it up, doesn't get a whole lot, but it's exciting for the fans, isn't it?
Well, Brunell threw a block.
He got a great block.
Now that time they put Betts in because the times they've tried that with Clinton, he's kept it.
Yeah, I think that'd have been a better play going towards Strahan's side because he's the one been knifing down, catching the play from the back.
That Aussie's hard to get around, too. I mean, that guy, the two Pro Bowl defensive ends, it's hard to get around him.
Gain of 3 on that play. 2nd and 7 for the Skins from their own 38. High formation behind Brunell. There's a counter give. Ray Brown out there makes a block. Clinton spins the 40 to the 42-yard line where he is gang tackled. Well, Ray Brown pulled that time, Sonny, right in front of that play.
Yeah, I told Sam he would.
Not wide, though. Not real wide.
Not real wide.
They did on the first play of the game, he went wide.
On that reverse?
No, on the first play of the game.
All right. I'll tell you what.
The pitch.
I tell you what. I played that position, man. You start sucking wind whenever you got to get out there in front of that halfback.
3rd and 3 for the Skins at their own 42-yard line.
3 for 3 on 3rd down conversions.
Redskins have 3 men in the I formation. We haven't seen that setup. And now Robert Royal breaks off. And they're going to play action fake it. Brunell to Cooley. He's open. He's hit. He dives ahead. He's got the first down.
He's got the first down.
Cooley in the flat.
He is something, isn't he?
That's his first catch of the day.
And he was covered by Blackburn, the guy that intercepted a while ago and ran it back for a touchdown.
Yeah, but he can't cover that in the flat.
Nope.
Cooley is quickly becoming one of the fan favorites, Sonny.
Well, because he performs. He produces every time he's out there.
1st and 10.
He makes things happen.
Sure does. 1st and 10 at the 46. Portis back in the game. The Redskins lead at 14-10. 11:45 to go in the second quarter. Cooley in motion. Handoff to Clinton. Looking for room up the middle. Gets bulldogged down at the 46-yard line. Umanura, the first guy to hit him. But they're just going to keep pounding away. Redskins have really found that ground game over the last 3 weeks.
Giant defense is tough, though. They're tough to run against. They're a good defensive unit.
Redskins ranked 7th in the NFL rushing the football. Liddell Betts in on 2nd and 9. He's the lone setback. Mike Sellers in motion to the left. It's a pitch to Betts. Trying to find some running room on the left side. Breaks one, but gets hit at the midfield stripe where he gets stacked up. And Sonny, is there kind of a battle of attrition when you pound it like this on a defensive line?
Oh, yeah. 10:55, they had it in the first quarter. And when you got a team out there and you just keep pounding and pounding.
They get tired. Defense gets tired.
Defense gets tired, makes mistakes, they miss tackles. You know, and invariably teams do not tackle well on the road as they do at home.
Redskins face a 3rd and 6 from the midfield stripe. Santana Moss and James Thrash are both to the left. Brunell in the shotgun. Now he sends Moss in motion to the right. Cooley's to the right as well. Heat from the outside. Brunell backpedaling, dumps it, and incomplete to Santana Moss over the middle. He had to get rid of it quick. And Will Allen on the defense there.
He was covering it.
That's the first 3rd down they missed.
Right, and the first Redskin punt coming up.
Right.
Derek Frost, who has struggled at times this year, averaging 35.9 net. And Chad Morton stands at his own 9-yard line.
Kick it deep into the end zone if you have to.
Do why?
Why? It only comes out to the 20, then your defense will
think
hold
it's going to go in the end zone?
Trying to get it inside the 20. Here's the punt by Frost. It is high, right down the middle. Chad Morton is going to let it bounce. It hits and it dies. And Liddell Betts is going to down it at the 5-yard line.
Kick it in the end zone.
He didn't have enough leg to kick it in the end zone.
That's what I was saying, where he was kicking from.
I was giving him a little more credit than he deserves.
It's a great punt.
It was.
44 yards in the punt, and the Giants are pinned at their own 6. Timeout.
That's 301-469-7100 or online at jimcoleman.com.
This is Redskins Radio.
With a Provident Bank home equity loan, you get a low rate, pay no points, closing costs, application fees. Call 800-PBM-LEND or visit ProvBank.com today. Equal housing lender.
14-10 Redskins. Giants at their own 6-yard line. Time of possession. Redskins 14-11. The Giants 5:42. Quite a discrepancy. Handoff Tiki Barber right up the middle. Gets hit at the 7-yard line and drilled back. Who made that hit? Sean Taylor.
Griffin, too, on the bottom of the pile.
That hurt Tiki Barber. Boy, hit by 3 Redskins that time. Marcus Washington in on it as well.
Cornelius Griffin just underneath that pile.
If you go back to the Giant game in the Meadowlands, a number of times in that game there were some bad angles taken on tackling. And they're taking the right angles today.
2nd and 7 after a gain of 3 at their own 9-yard line for the Giants. Manning has Barber behind him, lone setback. Play action fake. He's got time, dumps it over the middle, has a man. Toomer up over the 25. It's a Tiki Barber, across the 25 to the 26. It's a first down. He just filtered out of the backfield and he was wide open.
Yeah.
They sent a man long to take the corner and the safety out of there, and they cross a man underneath him coming from the other side.
That's the linebacker's man, isn't it, Sam?
Nobody to pick him up, but Arrington was outside of him, and he just turned it up the field. That's Marshall's guy.
2nd and 10 at the 28. The fullback Finn in motion, a handoff left side. Tiki Barber hit by Arrington in the backfield and taken down. So Arrington and Philip Daniels over there shut that down. We're in the GMRI broadcast booth this afternoon here at FedEx Field. Larry Michael with Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff, 14-10. The Skins leading the Giants.
That was the play that Tiki Barber right there went 57 yards against the Redskins up at Giant Stadium. They only got 1 on that play.
Tim Carter, a wide receiver, is a wide out to the right side of the formation. Now Toomer is in motion to the left. Now he comes back to the right. Long count by Manning. Back to pass. Fires it left side way over the head of Burris. I mean, he missed him by 5 feet.
Yeah, bad throw then.
Yeah, everybody was covered. And it looked like Manning get just a little bit shaken a little bit here.
He's rushed a little bit.
A little bit rushed.
When you get rushed, you get shaken, believe me.
I know.
I don't care who you are.
I know. We used to rush you a lot in Philadelphia.
I got shaken, too.
Giants are 0 for 3 on third down conversions. They bring in an extra tight end, Sante Shiako, on 3rd and 8 at their own 30-yard line.
Here it is. You got to put the pressure on him here.
Crowd doing their part.
And cover man for man. Here comes Sean Taylor.
Man into the shotgun. Gets the snap. Heat up the middle. Throws it out to the right. It is almost intercepted. Almost intercepted.
I think it was.
Down on the ground now, you know, big pileup down there. Sean Springs and Amani Toomer fighting for the football.
He didn't have much on that ball.
Incomplete pass, I guess they called.
And it's a punting situation. And a lot of activity on the sideline. The Redskins players very fired up, as the coaching staff is as well. And here comes the punt from Fiegels.
He can outkick the coverage sometimes, this guy.
It is high. And Antonio Brown's going to call for the fair catch and makes it at the 31-yard line.
He did the right thing.
There are a couple of Redskins trying to get into that skirmish, and Greg Williams was not going to put up with any of that. 39-yard punt. The Redskins lead at 14-10. Back after these words from Geico. This is Redskins Radio. Scores for the Skins. Atlanta and Dallas playing this afternoon. Tampa Bay leads Atlanta 14-7, and the Cowboys and Panthers are tied at 10 apiece.
Pretty good mix here. Last week it was 40-20 runs. Today, 18-8. Run to pass.
1st and 10 Redskins at their own 32-yard line. Brunell gives it to Portis. Hit at the line of scrimmage, and boy, what a collision there at the 30-yard line. Loss of a couple on that play.
Tell you what, they're getting a quick read defensively. The Giants are.
The Redskins, if they throw to loosen the run up a little bit, maybe just.
That's on first down. They know they're going to run on first down now, man. They're coming.
They'll run some first down play actions.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown in as a wide receiver. He is to the left, to the right. It is Santana Moss.
They should just run him long.
Thrash is in motion now to the left. Portis the setback. Brunell back to pass. Fakes the screen to Portis. Goes right side to Cooley instead. Rumbling across the 30, but Strahan gets a grab of his leg.
Yeah.
It doesn't get anywhere.
There's a pro play right there.
Yep.
By the defensive end. He read the play perfectly. Michael Strahan has been an all-pro for many years. Probably the best. When I played up there, I had Andy Robustelli and Jim Katkavich, who were two great defensive ends. I think these two defensive ends are equal to them.
Well, Strahan, the #1 active sack leader in the NFL right now.
Yeah, they're really great players.
3rd and 11 for the Skins. They are 4 of 5 on third down conversions. Brunell in the shotgun. Has time, fires in, and it's too wide, intended for Antonio Brown on the left side.
Boy, I tell you what.
Good thing he didn't make a good throw that time. It'd have been another touchdown.
That Aussie,
the other way.
That Aussie is so, he gets into the quarterback's vision, into his face. That's what he did that time.
Brunell got popped that time, and he's coming off, holding his left arm.
Yeah, he got hit by you-know-who, Michael Strahan.
And the second consecutive punt for the Redskins in a beautiful spiral. Morton takes it as 23. Hit by Adi Jamo and dropped in his tracks. Good play by Adi Jamo on special teams.
Yes.
And a nice punt by Frost. 46 yards on the punt, 1 yard on the return. Timeout on the field with 6:13 to play in the first half. The Redskins lead the Giants 14-10. Back after this on the Free FM WJFK Redskins Radio Network.
You wanted to see me, sir?
Come on in, Griffith. Griffith, I reward people for great ideas, and you're suggesting
play in the first half. The Skins lead the Giants 14-10 on the strength of 2 Brunell to Moss touchdown passes. 1st and 10 Giants at their own 24-yard line. In motion to the right, Amani Toomer. Eli Manning under center. Turns around, play action fake. Looking over the middle, looking for Tiki Barber's got him at the 30 and is taken down at the 32 by Arrington and Walt Harris.
Good tackle that time.
Gain of 9 on that play.
I'll tell you one thing. Tiki is fast. He's good. He's a Pro Bowl player.
He's in the running for the MVP of the league this year.
I would think so.
And Sean Alexander.
Well, he picked up 9 yards on that little pass.
Patrick Ramsey warming up on the sideline. Brunell hurt his left shoulder on that previous possession, and Ramsey is warming up. Handoff to Tiki Barber, has the first down across the 35 up to the 38-yard line where he stacked up Arrington on the play.
And Clark.
Matter of fact, I don't see Mark Brunell on the sideline right now.
I was looking at the same thing.
We had him down there earlier. They might have taken him off for x-rays. We didn't notice if they took him off, but right now Patrick Ramsey is warming up. There's Brunell.
There's a good hit by Arrington on a great cut by Tiki Barber. Picked up the first down.
I think Brunell's okay, but Ramsey just warming up. First and 10 to the 38. Their own 38 for the Giants. Barber the lone setback. He gets the call. Looking right. Breaks a tackle at the 40. Up on the tackle, Ryan Clark. Good tackle by the Redskins strong safety at the 42, but that's a gain of 5 for Tiki Barber. Well, he is just a step away from breaking it right now.
Yep, they're starting to go to him now. He's their clutch guy. I mean, they stayed away from him the whole first quarter.
3 carries.
Yeah.
7 carries, 22 yards for Tiki Barber in the first half, coming off a 220-yard performance.
Yeah, they're lining up in the I formation now, and he's good out of that I.
Give him 4 on first down, 2nd and 6. In motion, the fullback, Derek Ward. Manning back to pass, looking, and it is intercepted. Picked off by Lamar Marshall at the 30. Stiff arms Manning, and he's taken down at the 21. Everyone stopped when that ball was intercepted. They didn't know where the ball was. It was in the arms of Lamar Marshall.
He just came over. It was a bad throw.
Yeah, it was
he
on
threw
his
it
hip.
behind him.
He threw it behind Marshall. It was on his hip.
Did you see Shockey, though? He quit on it. He didn't know what was good. He took a hit. He's complaining about a call. He's not even watching the play. What a knucklehead.
Well, there was contact.
There was contact. There was contact. Right. And that's what he wanted. He wanted the penalty.
Well, you know what? That's a bad mental play by Shockey. He gave up about 20 yards on the return that time. Ball at the Giants' 20.
Oh, you gotta take it to him here. You got a big break.
First and 10 Redskins after the turnover at the Giant 20-yard line. They lead 14-10 with 4 minutes to play in the first half. Brunell is in there. Has Portis behind him. Long count by Brunell. And he's going to call a timeout.
He didn't get the defense he was looking for, I don't think. He never goes on a quick count.
Timeout on the field. We'll take a break as well. 14-10 Redskins lead it. Back after these words from Wachovia. 14-10 Redskins lead the Giants with 4 minutes to play in the first half. And the Skins on the interception by Lamar Marshall have it 1st and 10 at the Giant 20. Yeah, we're just looking at the highlight of Shockey, who was interfered with, it appears.
Yeah, he was interfered with. Redskins got a break there.
Yeah, but, you know, Sam, you say you'd have him on your team, but he just gave up, 20. You could have turned around and tackled Lamar Marshall.
He did not know where the ball was.
No,
he knew he got interfered with.
All right, the Redskins send Santana Moss and Chris Cooley to the right. Clinton Portis is set back 1st and 10 at the Giant 20. Brunell has Cooley in motion into the backfield. And he gives it to Portis up the middle. Has Ray Brown in front of him, working for yardage inside the 18 to the 17. And he is tackled by Will Allen.
Nice play by Will Allen, coming off the corner over in the middle and got in on the play.
How's Ray Brown doing so far, Sonny?
He's doing all right. Doing all right. And moving the ball is staying on the field, and that's the important thing.
Gain of 3 on first down.
This is where they need to get it in the end zone. No field goal here. Get it in the end zone.
If you can't get it into the end zone, though, you got to get the field goal.
Yeah, exactly.
High formation behind Brunell. Mike Sellers is the fullback. Portis the setback behind him. Pitch to the right side to Portis. He wants to throw. He's got Cooley into the end zone. Touchdown! The option pass. Portis to Cooley for 6. How about that one?
Whoa! Little trickery.
They haven't shown that one.
Boy, what a great call that time. Catching the Giants asleep.
They saved it for the right play, the right moment.
And a touchdown catch for Chris Cooley. Touchdown number 7 this year.
And it was a good throw by Portis, wasn't it?
He led him nicely.
He led him nicely.
He put it right there. Big play.
Scoring drive summary brought to you by DC Lottery in the brand new game. DC Daily 6. The conversion by Hall is up and it's good. 2 plays, 20 yards, and they convert the turnover into a touchdown. Redskins lead at 21-10.
That is a good thing. They're converting the turnovers, taking advantage of the opportunities.
And the Redskins lead at 21-10, and the momentum has gone back and forth so many times in the first half. It's firmly behind the Skins right now. That was right on his fingertips.
Can't throw it any better. Cooley gets open, doesn't he?
4 touchdowns in 2 games.
All the time he's open.
Now, we told you earlier, if Minnesota loses tomorrow night and the Cowboys and Atlanta lose today and the Redskins win, the Redskins would clinch a playoff berth. And right now in the second quarter, Tampa Bay's leading Atlanta 14-7, and it's Carolina 13, Dallas 10.
Well, let's end the game there.
Long way to go. Long way to go with all those ball games.
Long way to go in this ball game.
No doubt about that, Sam.
A lot different than the game in New York, though, wasn't it?
Now look at Portis and Cooley on the sideline discussing that touchdown pass. That's got to feel good, huh?
Oh, it does. For a running back, yes.
Oh, Cooley, he's cool, isn't he? He's got the right name.
He's a piece of work.
Oh, Cooley's cool.
Now, Randy Moss has found his way into one of the suites down here. You know he'd go where the food is.
Yeah. High-fiving it with people.
Randy Moss.
Randy Thomas, excuse me. I look at Santana. Randy very happy he's down there eating, Sonny. Look at him.
I was thinking, how did we get Randy Moss around here?
Sorry, Sam.
They traded for him, Sam. You didn't hear?
Yeah, the big whiteout.
Hey, he's a great receiver. There's no doubt about that.
We don't need him.
No.
We like to see Randy Thomas healthy.
You got it.
He's going to be 400 pounds by the time today's over.
Here we go.
John Hall has it teed up. Chad Morton's had some good kick returns this afternoon. Coming down, Morton's going to take it at his 13. Already to the 20-25. Hit and dumped. Oh, a huge play that time. That's Pearson Prelo. Upends Chad Morton at the 27.
Oh, what a good tackle that was.
Beautiful tackle. I mean, he was like a guided missile that time. Flipped him head over heels with 3:12 to play in the first half. Help the Redskins as they gain yards for youth. Pledge specific amount of money for each offensive yard the team gains this season. Then choose from a pre-selected group which youth-based charity receives a donation. For more information, visit yardsforyouth.org. The Giants have it, 1st and 10 at their own 27. 21-10, the Redskins lead. 3:12 to go in the first half. Toomer is in motion to the left. Tiki Barber the setback. Barber gets the call right up the middle, hit by Salavea at the 30, and he drags ahead to the 31.
There's something to consider, and that is a timeout call by Mark Brunell. May have had a pass call. He didn't feel comfortable with his sore shoulder. They come back and let Portis throw the football instead of Mark Brunell.
Have to ask Mark about that after the game.
I didn't think about that, but you're right. And he loves to be right.
I'm not saying I'm right.
2nd and 6. Giants at the 31. Barber again. No place to go. Salavea again takes him down.
Big Joe.
Salavea had a blocker on him, and he just held that man with one arm and grabbed the ball carrier with the other.
And Marcus Washington was in on the bottom of that, too.
The Redskins defense all fired up. 3rd and 5 coming up for the Giants. 2:15 and counting here in the first half.
Yeah, you need to stop it right here so the Giants have to punt.
Make a play. Intercept it.
Make another play.
Intercept it.
Giants 0 for 4 on 3rd down conversions. 2:04, 2:03. I don't think he's going to get this play off before the 2-minute warning. He does not. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Redskins lead at 21-10. We'll be back in a moment. This is Redskins Radio.
Value City Furniture is giving away a fantasy sports entertainment set. Enter to win at any of the 4 Value City locations in Woodbridge, Falls Church, New Carrollton, or Waldorf for your chance to win. The fantasy sports entertainment set includes a 4-piece entertainment furniture package and a 50-inch big screen television. No purchase necessary. You just need to enter at any Value.
Leading the Giants 21-10. The Giants face a 3rd and 5. 0 for 4 on 3rd down conversions. Skins going to rush 3 this time. Demetric Evans in. Eli Manning in the shotgun formation. Toomer in motion to the right. Manning gets the snap. Back to pass over the middle. Has a man. It's complete to Toomer. It's fumbled. He's got the first down and the whistle blows.
He was down.
And he got hammered by Sean Taylor and Omar Stoutmeyer.
For all the details on today's game and all the games around the league, be sure to check the sports section of tomorrow's Washington Post.
Here they go without a huddle.
No huddle for the Giants. Back to the line. 1:35 and counting here in the first half. 1st and 10 from their own 38. Manning back to pass. Has time over the middle. Has Shockey. It's a flag on the play on the completion.
I don't know what they called there.
Well, both guys, they ran into each other.
Oh, offensive
offense. See, he ran into
Shockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shockey gets up limping. I don't think Shockey knows it's on him.
Pass interference, 80. Offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
See, he just ran straight into Sean Taylor that time.
I think he wanted to get the call, and he got it.
Well, he's
on him.
limping off right now. Shockey limping off.
I tell you, he's a great football player. He's a high-spirited guy, but he can play.
Ball pushed back to the Giants 28, where it's 1st and 20.
Now, this is a situation you don't want Eli in.
Here's a screen.
This is tough on Eli.
Yeah, that's why you got to call the screen for him.
You got a young quarterback.
Redskins bringing 4 this time. Manning, heat from Phillip Daniels. Here comes Evans. They're going to catch him from behind. Marcus Washington sacks him or tackles him beyond the line of scrimmage after a gain of a couple.
And the clock is running.
Minute 15 and counting. 2nd and 17 for the Giants. Manning brings him to the line quickly. To the shotgun. 2nd and 17. There's the snap. Has all kinds of time. Fires over the middle. Has a man. It's complete. It is complete to the 48-yard line.
Well, I tell you, he fired that ball.
Shianko, the tight end, is the receiver on that one.
They beat the, for the Redskins? Yeah, that was a little bit easier.
That was over. Okay.
Yeah.
Giants 1st and 10 at their own 49. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Still plenty of time to get on the scoreboard here. Manning in the shotgun. Gets the snap. Heat up the middle. He dumps it off to Tiki Barber, and someone's there to tackle him. It was Lamar Marshall. Lamar Marshall right in his jock.
Yeah, good play because they were spying Tiki.
He has Tiki man for man, and that's the way to play it. He was right with him.
40 seconds and counting. Manning back to pass again. Throws it down the sideline. Oh, a devastating hit on the receiver. They're going to throw a flag on the Redskins. Ryan Clark, why? Tim Carter was there. Ball hit him in the hands. And they're going to say the headshot.
Yeah.
A headshot by Ryan Clark with 30 seconds to go, and that's a huge penalty.
I'll tell you what, he
personal
buried him.
foul, unnecessary roughness, 27, defense, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
127, it was 25.
It was 25, wasn't it? I thought it was Clark.
It was Ryan Clark, wasn't it?
They said Harris.
Yeah, no, it was Ryan Clark.
Well, I tell you, he leveled him.
They're almost within field goal range. Ball at the 37 of the Redskins with 30 seconds to go. They still have 2 timeouts remaining. I don't know. That's a rough call.
I'll tell you one thing. Greg Williams will be happy about it.
Well, he ought to. That was some shot right there.
Manning in the shotgun again. Looking over the middle, fires, has a man. It's Samani Toomer, and he's hit from behind by Prelo. Taken down at the 25, and the Giants take their 2nd timeout. In the event, the Giants have the play. Manning back in the huddle right now.
I tell you what, he meant to get him, didn't he?
A nice lick.
It looked like a Sean Taylor hit.
That's what I thought. It was Sean Taylor for a second.
Yeah, I did too.
Here we go.
22 seconds to go in the first half. Carter a wide out to the right. Shianko is the wingman on the right side from the shotgun. Manning pump fake, throwing it down the sideline for Tudor, left side, and it's out of bounds.
Bad throw.
Yep.
He had to throw it.
Yeah, but he threw it out of bounds. You got to give your guy a chance.
Yeah, but the blitz was on him right in his face. He had to get rid of it.
Get rid of it, but keep it in bounds.
All right.
17 seconds to go. 2nd and 10 Giants.
Manning, throw it in bounds.
There you go.
So we can intercept it.
Shockey back in.
Could have been intercepted.
Manning comes to the line on second and 10 at the Redskins 25. 17 seconds to play in the half. Giants have one timeout. Heat up the middle. Manning into the end zone. It's deflected and almost caught for it. It is. It's a touchdown. A touchdown to Monty Toomer on the deflection. What a lucky break that time, but he makes the grab for 6.
Well, I don't know. I might throw the... Well, they got to check it upstairs.
Did that ball touch the ground?
That's what they have to check it upstairs. They got to check it upstairs to make sure there was a reception.
Deflected and
couldn't see it.
Now
He's got to come from upstairs.
You might want to call a timeout and force him to look at it.
Well, the Giants should kick the extra point.
Now here you go. The referee.
Yeah.
Got to go to a commercial.
Got to go McCurdy.
Way to go, George.
21-17. That's the score. 4 points.
Redskins up by 4 with 10 seconds to play. Now, the Giants are going to squib this down here and not give Antonio Brown a chance. You would think.
You would think, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I had a good week this week at the Safeway. Everybody was patting me on the back and everything. Said, boy, the Redskins are good, aren't they? You bring it up and give me a discount and everything else.
Give you free food?
Oh, yeah. No. not free, but, you know, a little discount here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get discounts at the Safeway?
Of course, you have a Safeway card.
Everybody's got one of those.
That doesn't mean they're giving you something. Hey!
Feely squibs it down, bouncing along the ground. Mike Sellers gets it to 25 to the 30, 35 up to the 40-yard line, and the clock stops with 4 seconds to go in the half.
Kneel down.
Throw it long.
I don't know.
Maybe take a shot. Throw it long.
I think you got a bad... somebody's down for the Redskins.
One of the Redskins is down. It looks like Chris Clemens.
Clemens, right?
Yeah.
I think you kneel down here because you got a quarterback arms. You don't know if it's healthy right now.
Well, bring it. I have Brunell, Sellers, Robert Royal in the game, Rock Cartwright. And pulling Taylor Jacobs and Santana Moss. So it would appear to be a run or a kneel down by Mark Brunell here.
How about a kneel down?
Yeah, it's going to be a kneel down.
Well, one time he couldn't make the kneel down. You remember? Oh,
that's going to end the first half.
There you go.
Exciting first half. The Redskins lead at 21-17, leading the Giants at the break. Back up with our halftime show coming up on the Free FM WJFK Redskins Radio Network.
Let's compare dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh versus a Mercedes-Benz with 4MATIC all-wheel drive. First, when it comes to handling, an open sleigh's not bad, but it's no match for the traction of a C280 4MATIC sedan. Also, what's one horse